Chapter 6, Closer to the Edge. Hifumi did not like flashy movements and skills. Large movements are done if necessary, as a pretense of high-handedness, but ultimately, to kill a person aiming at the vital spots is just as important. Stimulating the sense of pain by using a kensetsu waza, joint-locking technique in judo, and destroying the opponent in a move, killing can be done efficiently. Though there were no opportunities to use them in the other world, those points on the body had been memorized. Though, killing efficiently is very important, showing it to someone is unnecessary. However, polishing the technique like this had an entrancing allure about it, even though it gave off a dangerous feel. Wow! Origa, who saw Hifumi's technique for the first time, even though an adventurer, had never seen such an admirable skill. Certainly amazing, but this. Kasha, breaking down and digesting the battle, as expected of a swordswoman, noticed Hifumi's techniques designed to kill efficiently. Master, just what kind of person are you? There is a reason that Kasha feels a sense of incongruity in Hifumi's skill. In this world, there are crime and war-related killings everywhere, but fighting with a demon is more familiar. There are various types of demons, their vital points similar to animals. Blows and slashes do not have much effect. There are attacks assisted by magic. Fighting with the weapons of this world places emphasis on the point of contact of the weapon, to drive in a strong shock or slash. As a result, maces or longswords are all made heavy and sharp, and weapons like the short spears equipped by the knights of the castle are fewer. Though bows exist as well, they are mainly used to hunt, and fire the first few volleys of arrows in an infantry battle, after which they are not used. To kill a living thing here, forge the body, acquire power and use heavy weapons, strengthen the basic foundations. Killing efficiently, techniques never evolved in this world. In such a world, Hifumi's techniques are alien, unknown. We seem to have been bought by an unexpectedly dangerous man. To be frank, Hifumi had a height of about 170 centimeters, small for a male to be employed in combat in this world. Because of his not being muscular, Kasha was half in doubt about her master's fighting power. Events in the castle were thought to be considerably exaggerated. However, seeing the slaughter carried out in front of their eyes, it seemed that the story of the man who bought them was not an exaggeration at all. Sitting with slaves and having meals at the same level, this relaxed man seemed to be truly terrifying inside. Though Kasha had fought many men in her adventurer years, this scary Hifumi was something else entirely. Though scary, she had to keep an eye on him. This, dangerous and focused feeling from the sword. While thinking such, fear was reflected in Kasha's pupils. Though there was a feeling of respect for a strong person as well. 2 people of the 4 remaining enemies throw small knives. Matching their timing, the other 2 thrust forward. Ho! Exhaling, Hifumi thrust his left hand forward, hitting one man's torso and bringing him down. While doing so, the 2 knives struck his back. Convulsing once, the fellow collapsed powerlessly. Slipping under the other approaching attacker, Hifumi savagely threw knives at the remaining 2 attackers. Towards the abruptly approaching Hifumi, the men blocked with their own knives, but they were just too unlucky. As though gliding, the katana cut lopped off the first person's head, continuing on, sliced through the second person's carotid artery. Moving the katana back, approaching the previously disregarded opponent, the katana point soundlessly pierced through the center of the torso. Snatching the knife from the dead opponent's hand, Hifumi threw it. With a quick snap of his elbow, the knife flew a frightening speed, striking the hiding and watching 10th man, entering his eye and exiting from the back of his head. I knew there were 10 people. Mere seconds after encountering Hifumi, they were all dead. Phew. That was truly enjoyable. My thanks. Hifumi said smilingly to the piles of corpses. Damn it, looking at the state of his uniform stained with blood, Hifumi cursed while sheathing his katana. All members are dead. Well, let's see who instigated them. May I investigate as a member of the Knights? To be honest, we Knights are somewhat uneasy about the real nature of these people. To Midas' proposal, Hifumi had a cold expression. Like that, carefully erasing evidence of any links to your Knight Corps. Is that it? Wait please. Really, people like these do not exist in our Knight Corps. We know the dangers of starting a fight with Hiro-sama. Abruptly coerced, Midas instinctively panicked. Phew. All right. In any case, I don't really want to spend time investigating. Do as you like. Thank you. Leaving Midas waiting for assistance, Hifumi and company returned to the shop area. Is my observation okay? Well, no worries. Well, now that the enjoyable event is over, we should schedule shopping as next on the list. While walking, Kasha called out. What? Some time ago, Master's fighting methods, I saw something like that for the first time. Where in the world did Master learn that? That. In my hometown, such a way of fighting is not unusual. Like me, in the country where I was born and grew up, there were not a lot of people with heavily built physiques. Nevertheless, a certain period of fighting divided the country into pieces, and it was from such an environment that the gaps in power can be overcome by technique. Even if a person wears armor, they can be efficiently killed. Power gap by technique. Thinking about something, Origa ponders. On the battlefield, on killing an enemy, it was accustomed to harvest the heads. Also, there were various other techniques used to destroy an opponent's mental balance. Hifumi, heads? A frightening image seemed to float in front of Origa and Kasha. Hifumi didn't particularly feel like correcting them. Indeed. The heads of the enemies were tied around the waist of the general, to show off their military exploits. While discussing the finer points of old battles, Hifumi walked onwards, accompanied by two slaves who seemed slightly green-faced. They reached the armorer's shop at last, near the shop they had eaten in. Like a convenience store, it was completely crammed with various equipment. Further in, there seems to be a workshop attached, its entrance covered by a screen of sorts. This too seems to be a shop that Kasha is acquainted with. If it's here, weapons can be made, armor too. Though not their area of expertise, there is equipment for magicians as well. The elation from shopping aside, Kasha was quite tense. Inside the shop, a short elderly man was sitting next to the screen wearing an unpleasant expression. You too, huh? The old man looked at Kasha and Origa with a sullen expression. I look away from you, and your slaves. Looking at the tattoos on their shoulders, the old man says with a sigh. There were a number of reasons. Right now, this man is the master. Master, this is the owner of the shop, Thorn of the Dwarf Race. Introduced by Kasha, the old man turned his scowl to Hifumi. Ooh, this fellow is a dwarf? It's my first time seeing the real thing. Meeting a fantasy race for the first time, Hifumi was excited. Then, a question arose in his mind. Weren't humans and demi-humans hostile to each other? Fyun, a brat that knows nothing. The humans are quarreling with the beast race. Us dwarves are scattered throughout the world, polishing our skills, and elves don't come out of their territories in the first place. Is that so? Not complex at all. Though Thorn was scowling throughout the explanation, his face might originally be like that. Well, aside from the demon race, the beast people and humans are the only sources of revenue for weapons. They seem to be a business-minded race. You know the weapons suited for yourselves. Do not mind the amount of money, you like it, buy it. Telling them to promptly choose their weapons, Hifumi says magnanimously. Actually, a lot of money remains. Is that fine? Slaves are usually not allowed to carry weapons, and if they are, usually cheap ones. After having joy fill her face for an instant, Origa asked uneasily. Will you be able to fight if not wielding weapons? Though the cost is trivial, you should choose an easy-to-use and durable weapon. It is necessary to avoid the possibility of the weapons breaking in combat. Next to Hifumi, Kasha nodded with an TL, I dunno how else to phrase this. It is as Master says. As expected, Master understands. So, I can choose without reservation. Now Origa, you need to choose a staff. Using magic without it is not possible, how will you fight? Hifumi heard Kasha's words. Magic cannot be used without a staff. Is this the general practice of this world? Though I can use my dark magic normally without one. However, neither the slave shop owner or the doorkeeper had any different reaction when I used it to bring out the money. Though it may be a peculiarity of Origa, various staffs on display are embedded with crystals and jewels, why they are used is unknown. Still, I need to know more about this world. Looking at the various products, Hifumi reaffirmed once again that he was really in a different world. Origa does not look good in this. Kasha's arms and legs are long, many dresses suit you very well. Though the conversation started resembling one that would not be out of place in a clothing store, Hifumi decided to ignore it. It would be troublesome for Hifumi if he got entangled in women's shopping. Nevertheless, knife, one-handed sword, two-handed sword, axe, mace, there are only 5 kinds. Full-body leather armor differs from its metal counterpart only in hardness. To Hifumi's grumbling, Thorn retorts. What are you saying? It is dangerous if defense is not tightened, yes? Besides, the only weapons not here are the spears used by the knights. It seems that leather armor is the norm here, metal armor is primarily used by officials and other ranking people, and there are truly very few varieties of weapons. For instance, can I order some custom work? There is something I want you to make. At first trying to explain with words and failing, because it is not possible to understand it that easily, finally parchment and ink was prepared and some drawings were made. Because this and this are weapons, forge this properly. Also, this moves like this, do not make it fixed. What kind of weapon is this? I'm seeing such a thing for the first time, how to use it? Words won't suffice to explain, it's better if I show you. Hifumi handed over about 20 gold coins to Thorn, who was constantly tilting his head. The advance. The rest will be paid upon completion. Well, if I can earn money, I'll make it. Let's see. 3 days, it will be done. As expected of a dwarf, the work speed was up to Hifumi's satisfaction. During their discussion, it seems that Origa and Kasha were finished with their selections. Have you decided? Yes, though it seems to cost a lot of money, is it fine? Hifumi laughed cheerfully at the two who had an apologetic air. It's all right, there is still plenty more money I took from the castle. Is that really all right? Though Kasha twisted uneasily for a different reason, she asked Hifumi directly for 2 one-handed swords and metallic armor. Beneath the armor were simple clothes. Origa chose a robe that snugly wrapped around her small body, and a staff with a tip embedded with a stone of the same emerald green color as her eyes. In all 22 gold coins. Half of it was the cost of the magic staff. I'm sorry. To Origa, who was feeling like a burden, Hifumi paid while telling her it was fine. Master is not buying anything? Even though Master's clothes are uncommon, it is dangerous without a leather armor at least. Kasha, oh? Worried about me? What is Master saying? Kasha, on Hifumi teasing her, Kasha blushed and looked down. It seems like she has no experience in banter like this. Since her face and figure are easy on the eye, seeing as the adventurer profession is mainly a man's, her pure reactions are quite strange. Armor is unnecessary because it is heavy. As for a weapon, there's this. Hifumi said as he touched the katana at his waist. However, I just placed an order for a weapon. Is it a weapon from Master's world? Origa jumped into the conversation. Are you interested? Yes. Just some time ago, Master fought using an unknown technique. If possible, I would like to learn that technique. Origa looked at Hifumi frankly and asked. Is that so? Hifumi had practiced in not just Japanese martial arts, but also overseas martial arts for many years. He was glad to be asked to teach it. I want to learn as well. On Kasha declaring her participation in a hurry, Hifumi was in a good mood. Yash, if that is the case, then display your abilities once. After seeing that, I will guide you. Origa is a magician, yes? Do you do close combat? I could only fight with magic till now. But, I got into this situation, and I regret not learning it. Origa. Kasha, though Hifumi noticed that it was related to how she became a slave, he decided not to broach the topic. There is a rule. My guidance is severe, resolve yourself. Yes, thank you very much. Origa, Master, a little. No, please go easy on us. Kasha. Following Hifumi, who was feeling quite good, Origa and Kasha followed wearing their newly purchased equipment. Leaving the store in high spirits, the daylight had started fading. A lot of time seems to have passed while Hifumi and the other two were on a shopping spree. Absorbed in the selection and discussion of equipment, all tension had fallen from them. For now, a hotel. Yes. Hifumi's guidance would start the next day.